Right, so getting back to this Supra. As it looks, it's in a bit of a state, but yes, getting back to the Supra and getting all of the wiring sorted out for these fuel pumps, and then I can move on to something else then, because it's starting to annoy me. So down here is the relay bases that I made off in that last video, so just needed to find somewhere to locate them which is near to the standard hole. The original wires used to go off down there and come up out round here to these connectors on the original assembly. The fuel ECU is attached to this nut on the inside on the back of there. So all I need to do is make sure everything is local to this area, so all wires can be routed. The cable that I need to take for the trigger is inside this plug, so that's pretty much exactly where I need to be getting to. So ideally these need mounting around about here somewhere, so I'm going to get my pen out now, mark some holes and get drilling. So I marked out the 2 holes there, so it's just time to start and get drilling. Now that little piece of steel down there, it's not very thick at all, so I'm going to have to use riv nuts on that. I won't be able to tap and thread that, so there's not enough meat to it, so I'm just going to go get a riv nut now, measure the diameter of it, and then get a drill which is the right size for that riv nut. So there you go, I've just put 2 riv nuts in there. This one was nice and snug, I've come to do that one, and for some reason the threads on the end of my riv nut tool I've decided to strip off. So I could do with a new one of them, but it's held for now. Just for mocking up, it's fine. I'll get a new one of them ordered. So now it's just a case of getting these screwed into place. There we go. So that's those screwed into place for now. So these 2 blue wires are going to become the trigger wire from the original wiring. These are going to be, obviously the black is going to be earth, so I'll probably take these to a point such as this, or a little bit more secluded than that. There'll be something else around knocking about that. Like for example, I've got a big earth here which I used to use for the sound system in the car, so I could probably wire them to something like that. But I'll find another location in which I can put them that's a little bit more hidden. And then these are obviously the feeds, and these are going to go to the battery, which is going to be hopefully located in there. So these, I can just feed them through the gap there, and there you go. If I can do it with one hand, they go right through there and out the other side of that unit. And as you can see, I've got plenty of material left to do as I please. So yeah. So now that I've sort of figured out where things are going, the original loom here, I need to take the pin out, or just take a pin off from in here for the feed for these blue wires. I can leave that for now, but the other job I need to do is to adjust the standard loom. So this was a standard loom that clicks, you see by that connector there, goes to the original harness, went off down that hole there, underneath, and then up to where the original fuel pump was, and that's the original fuel pump hanger plug. So obviously I'm no longer using this, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to chop the end off this wire and then just find the wires that are associated with the 3 wires that I put onto the underside of my fuel pump hanger. I think they're basically for like your fuel float sensor, fuel level sensor, and something else. There's a couple of sensors in there. There's 3 wires, so yeah, so I need to do that. So I get chopping and I get splicing, and I'll do some wiring, because there is a little plug that goes on the end for that plug basically. So I'll be using all the wires that are in this plug, apart from the 2 main chunky ones which were for the original fuel pump. So I'm just going to go back in garage now and I get chopping. So there we have it. I've used my little clips and removers. So I've stripped down the plug, taken out the two main big power leads that used to be in there, and I've kept the original wiring, which is for the little fuel sensory unit that sits inside the tank. So all I need to do now is cut the ends off these wires, and then I can crimp on the new ends, which are in this bag here. So let me just get them out. So it's this one, so none of that lot. So all the crimps that are in there, sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed. So these little crimps here are what are going to be being inserted into this plug. So I need 3 of those, 1 for each end, and then that plug end will be made out. So now what I need to do is just take this out to the car, make sure that these wires are going to be long enough, basically, because these have got crimps on the end, so I'm going to have to cut these off. So I just need to make sure that this wire set here is going to be long enough to fit to the new plug that I'm fitting it to. Right, so I've just put the plug where I think it was attached to originally, and I've just laid the cable flat and tried to follow the contour of the floor as much as I can. It is eventually going to be going underneath here, but as you can see, there's plenty of room on the end of them wires, so I'm just going to get these cut now, and then get these all re-crimped on with the new crimps for that new plug, which will mate up with this one here. So I'm now going to pull out all of this fuel pump hanger so that I can sort out the plugs on the plug on the inside of here, and get all of these bulkheads final fit into place now that I know that everything is exactly where it needs to be in here. And there we have it. So that's a twin pump setup that I've made out. I just need to get all these bulkheads and everything sealed up in here, because these haven't been sealed yet, they've just been nipped up by hand, and then we can get cracking. We're getting on with this plug. So I need to know which colour plug on this corresponds with the colour on that, and get them in the right position, because if I don't get that right now, then nothing's going to work, is it? So I'll just go and dump this down, and I'll get back to you. Right, so I've been through some of the old photos on my phone just to try and remember which way these wires were in this plug, because I actually forgot. So yes, so as you can see, I've got a brown wire, a black and yellow, and a green and yellow, or yellow and green, whichever way you want to classify them as. So I've been through the old pictures. So the yellow and green went to the wiring on the inside of the original fuel pump hanger. So the yellow and green went to the yellow wire, the yellow and black went to the red, and the brown went to the black wire. So as you can see inside here, this little plug has been made out with the same corresponding coloured wires. So I just need to terminal check these and make sure that when I make out this plug here, that it suits and is all in line with the associated ports in there, basically. So I'm going to get on with that now, and yeah, we'll get going. So the easiest way to check with the wiring as to which pin it comes out at, if you can imagine, I just hold this onto the red wire down there like so, and then with the other end of the multimeter you just literally touch the contacts inside there, and it should give you an audible beep. So if I imagine this is just to make continuity, so there you go, you've got a beep. It'll just let you know that whichever pin you're on is to the whatever wire you're touching. So I'm going to do that, because I can't do it with one hand, it's a pain in the ass, so I'll get back to you. Alright, so that's them done. So as you're looking at this plug from this angle, square on, it read as the yellow wire being the furthest right plug, then red, then brown, and then a disused port. So obviously on here you've got yellow, red, brown, so it's the opposite way to whichever the plug is plugging into it. So what I need to make sure now is that when I make out this plug, that it corresponds to those pins. So for example, so that goes in the like so it's that way. So if I lay that plug down like that, I know that this wire has got to be yellow, then red, then brown, and then a blank port. So that's pretty simple to do. So I've got a toolbox full of old electrical stuff, and I've come across some of this like twiddly sort of flexy cable wrap. So I'm just going to put that around these, because with them being 3 separate wires all on their own, they just get all over the place. It just makes my life easier, makes it into one loom basically. So I'm just going to crack on with that now, and then I'll get crimping these ends on. And there you go, that's neatened that wire up a hell of a lot. So now all I need to do is get the ends of these wires stripped and get these crimps put on them in the associated spots. So because of the design of this plug, it means that you have to put the wires through it first and then pull the crimps back through. So just let me show you what I mean by that. So I've just made one of these crimps up. Just let me get my tripod. So I made one of the crimps out because I've got a couple spares. So this crimp here, as you can see, it's got this large long tab on it. So that tab there, in the back of the plug, there's no allocation for it, but in the front of the plug there, you can see these little slits in the plug. That is what that slots into basically. So as you put that through, like so, you got to line that tab up with that slot, and then it goes into there. I'm not going to pull it in and lock it in because I don't want to get it stuck. So yeah, so I've got to make sure that I put the wires through first, then crimp them, and then pull them back through, which is a little bit of a faff when it comes to plugs, but it's not the end of the world. So there we go. So the yellow port, if you remember, which was the furthest of the 4, so yellow was yellow and green, so I've got the yellow and green in that first port. The next one, which was the red wire, which red went to yellow and black, which is this wire. And then the black wire went to the brown wire, so that's for that. And then obviously there is one empty port in that plug that's not used. So I'm going to get these stripped now, crimped, and pull them back into the plug. They come with a nice handy little rubber grommet there, so it just aids holding all the wires in the plug, so it's not always trying to fall out on you. So yeah, I'll get these crimped up now, and then I'll show you the end. So there we go, that's all of them crimped on there. So that's the crimps put on the end. So all that's left to do now is to just gently figure out, like, get all these other bits, they'll all get tangled up on each other, you see. So make sure, like I said in that last little clip just before this one, that that tab lines up with the tab on the plug, which I think that one's a different crimp. That's a different crimp. What are the chances of that? That's the one. So yeah, unfortunately I've got one of them crimps mixed up with another crimp in the box, so I'm gonna have to try and sort that one out now. Bugger. Right, so luckily I had one spare left in there. I think them crimps were for the other plug that's on the underside of the fuel pump hanger, so luckily I had one spare. So yes, right, let's get these pulled in there now. That just means that one of these wires is going to be a little bit shorter than the others, which is not the end of the world. So I need to get that in there. As you can see, get that tab lined up with that slot and then pull them in. Clicks in with a nice little satisfying click. You guys might not be able to hear that though. If I do it closer. Nope. And then last one, and it goes. And that's it. That's that plug all made out. So that now is, oh, wobbling the camera. So that is this end of the wiring complete. So like I was saying in that other video, if you've not been following on my TikTok channel, let me take it off the stand. So this is the standard fuel pump sender unit. So there's some form of fuel sensor there. You've got this black thing, if I can show you it tipping. So as you can see, that's your fuel level, and then there's something else. So they all go off up here and feed to that plug just there. So yeah, now all I need to do is basically strip all that lot down, get all the bulkheads off that metal top plate, get the top plate cleaned up, and then get all them bulkheads out and sealed up so that they are all fuel safe. and I'm not going to be getting any leaks in car. So I'll do that in just a tick, and then I might even paint that top plate yet with a bit of Cerakote, but I'll see how I feel in a minute. Right, so next job to do is to remove this top plate off the fuel pump hanger. So I'm going to get all of this out of the way so I can get it all sealed up properly so it's all fuel safe, and then go from there. So probably get this top plate painted, and then at least it's where it's exposed to fuel, it doesn't really matter because it won't anodise in a fuel tank, hopefully, but where it's exposed to the air we'll probably get a little bit of oxidisation on the top there. So yeah, so let's just get this out and we'll go from there. And there we have it. So that's everything now stripped down into its base components. So I'm going to get this top all cleaned up, ready to get it painted, and I'm going to leave the rest of the shaft, that's fine. But yeah, so I just need to get that bit all blasted up in the sandblaster and get it sealed up, and then get all these bulkheads back into place permanently. Ow, just need the gearbox, that was helpful, wasn't it? So not that you can see it, but inside there is the plate. So I'm going to get the SGS blaster on it now and give that a bit of a cleaning up. Right, so give that a quick blast now in the sandblaster. It's not the best of finishes, but it's on its fuel pump hanger. It's just a quick key so that the Cerakote's got something to stick to. Normally I take a bit more time over stuff like that, but for what it is, it really doesn't need it. So I'm just getting the Develbis painter out, sprayer, sorry, not painter, that's a fucking bit of a stupid word for what it is. And I've got the Cerakote, I think this is C7600 Glacier Black. So I do have three colours, I've got the bronze, the silver and this black. So I'm just going to do it black for the sake of ease. So let's get to it. So the Cerakote paint I've got is just direct out of the bottle to spray it on. But as you can see by the top of the bottle here, it does set and it does go crusty, so just make sure that when you paint with it, you stick it through a filter first. Right, and there we have it. So that's it painted black now, so I've got to leave that for at least 2 hours before I can touch it. I have missed a bit of shadowing behind where the peg is there, but I'm not too fussed. Like I said, it's just serving a purpose. So yeah, unfortunately can't really do much more until that has dried. I could probably do a bit of wiring on the car, but I don't really have enough time for that at the minute. So yeah, so hope you're if you're new to my YouTube channel, hope you like my content. Leave us a comment in the comment section below and just let us know if there's anything you'd like to see or you'd like to see me doing, or something I should be doing different, because obviously I want to grow this channel, and your help would be massively appreciated. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. See you soon.